Good day, Canada. Good evening, Asia. It is Thursday, 12 p.m. in Toronto, and it is time for our regular webinar on immigration and visas to Canada. My name is Alex Davidson, and today we'll cover the very specific topic, proof of family relationship in the immigration process. You may actually think that nothing could be easier, but that is not always the case. Let us see what family relations are and what have to be done to satisfy an immigration officer that the relationship is actually genuine. First of all, let's reiterate what family relationship mean with the scope of the immigration process and why it is so important to prove that it is genuine. In any immigration program, the principal applicant must meet certain criteria in order to be selected and receive permanent residence in Canada. It means that an individual must receive high language test score, assess his or her educational credentials, prove work experience, and so on and so on. However, principal applicant's wife, husband, or common law partner does not have to do anything like that. Instead, in most cases, he or she is just a so-called accompanying dependent family member. That is, he or she immigrates automatically if the principal applicant meets the immigration program requirements and is selected for immigration. Clearly, this fact may lead and actually leads sometimes to immigration fraud when a single applicant meets all requirements of an immigration program and enters into marriage with another individual willing to immigrate to Canada as a dependent, usually for a fair sum of money in exchange. And there is another scenario. In some immigration programs, spouse or common law partner can bring extra points to the principal applicant, say by receiving good result at the IELTS language test. In a situation when a point or two can be of vital importance, which means either fall or pass, single applicants seek every opportunity to increase their chances, including getting married, with the person just able to bring those extra points. In any case, immigration authorities strive to avoid marriage of convenience by all means, and that is why proving genuine family relationship is taken very seriously. So now let's see another example. In case of spousal sponsorship, things are a little bit different. The principal applicant is the spouse, or husband, or wife, or a common law partner of an individual who is already a citizen or a permanent resident of Canada. In this situation, there are absolutely no requirements an applicant must meet in order to immigrate to Canada, like absolutely nothing. The only requirement is that he or she must be husband or wife or a common law partner of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. Of course, there are some requirements pertaining admissibility to Canada, such as criminal and medical admissibility requirements, but we're not talking about them right now. So imagine a situation when an individual somewhere in the world is willing to immigrate to Canada by all means, and he or she finds a Canadian citizen or a Canadian permanent resident who doesn't mind to raise some money. They enter into a collusion with each other, and a permanent resident or citizen suddenly becomes a sponsor. They enter into marriage for the sole purpose of immigrating to Canada for one of them, while another, of course, receives a significant cash amount of money. In this scenario, it is absolutely necessary for an immigration officer to determine if a relationship is genuine or not, because this is the only way to tell if the application is fraudulent or not. Very simple and straightforward, right? Here's the last example about the situation when a person is applying for a temporary visa to Canada. You know that temporary visas also include study permits and work permits. As we already discussed in one of our previous webinars, one of the crucial factors to receive a temporary visa to Canada is the applicant's motivation to return. As the name implies, temporary visa allows only temporary stay in Canada for a visa holder. So before an officer issues a temporary visa, he or she must be absolutely assured, right, that an applicant has more chances to leave Canada than to remain in Canada for good. Since no one can predict the future, an officer has to consider the facts in front of him or her. The fact that an applicant leaves his or her family behind speaks in favor of the person's desire to stay in Canada only temporary and to return to his or her family when their visit comes to conclusion. In similar situations, we've experienced cases when single applicants have less chances of being approved, of course, and therefore they were getting into fraudulent relationship with somebody from their home country just to add additional credentials and additional points to prove to the officer that they would be able to return back to Canada. Again, this speaks in favor of importance to prove genuineness of family relationship when applying for a temporary visa to Canada, for a study permit, for a work permit equally. So as you all know, there are two general types of family relationship recognized by Canadian immigration. First is the official marriage, and the second one is the common law partnership. Let's now see how they differ in terms of documentary proof of relationship. If a couple is officially married, it means that they have at least one official paper verifying their relationship. That is a marriage certificate. Some couples may also have a certificate of religious marriage or something like, but anyway, the point is that if a marriage is official, it means that there is a document which can verify the relationship directly. Instead, if a couple is cohabiting together in a common law partnership, it usually means that they do not have any credible official paper that clearly states that they are a family. In this situation, the couple must provide other documents to support their relationship. Obviously, such documents will serve only as an indirect proof. So first, let's talk about factors considered by an officer in both of these scenarios. Some factors are common both for official marriage and for the common law partnership, and they are considered by an immigration officer regardless in any case where genuineness of relationship is to be proven. So first, and one of the most important factors, is the period of cohabitation. If, for example, an officially married couple is living together for just a few months, it may raise a suspicion that this marriage is actually a marriage of convenience simply because the spouses entered into the marriage and soon thereafter they applied for immigration or for a visa to Canada. In such a case, when a couple is living together officially and they were married just a few months before they applied for a Canadian visa or Canadian permanent residence, but their relationship is nevertheless genuine, they may have to submit additional documents to prove that. With a common law partnership, the situation is a little bit different. First of all, if a couple is living together for less than 1 year, and it's important, this is not a common law partnership. Simply because under the Canadian immigration legislation, the common law partnership means that a couple has to live together, has to be together for at least 1 year, and not even a day less than that. In general, the longer the period of cohabitation is, the less concerns an officer will likely have with respects to the relationship. So when an officer is processing an application, he or she also takes into consideration other factors that can prove that family relationship is genuine. So examples are age, ethnicity, culture, religion, education background of both spouses. So if the spouses are found, say, incompatible in terms of age or in terms of cultural background or in terms of their religion, it may again raise suspicion and the officer may come to the conclusion that this is the marriage of convenience, not a general marriage or a common law relationship. One very important factor is that the children born in relationship. You must remember that while having kids is a very, very strong argument, it is still not sufficient just by itself to prove that relationship is genuine. There are lots of examples when couples neglected to provide additional documents in support of their common law partnership, just hoping that their children is the best possible proof ever, but later they were refused due to the lack of documentary evidence. Now, speaking about the spousal sponsorship, there are also factors to consider before applying. In most cases, a couple gets married not long before they apply for sponsorship. It simply means that despite being an official marriage, their union needs additional proof to verify that their relationship is genuine. Official sponsorship guide actually recommends to include wedding photos with the sponsorship application. So what an officer is expecting to see in these photos? Just remember, the only question an officer must give an answer to is if the relationship is genuine or not. It's not the wedding pictures the officer is actually interested in. So the officer would be looking at many things when reviewing the submitting pictures. He or she will take note of the number of guests attending the wedding. He or she will also notice if both spouses' parents are attending the ceremony, are the local traditions kept up, and so on and so on. Even the face expression of the couple and the guests will be noted. There are many cases when an officer was under impression that the couple is not comfortable with each other and with the guests. This is sufficient to undermine applicant's credibility, which in fact may lead to a refusal. Wedding celebration in a small apartment with very few guests, poor interior, sad faces on the wedding photos, omission of religious part of the ceremony, anything, absolutely anything can make an officer think that he or she is dealing with a marriage of convenience and not with a genuine marriage. So your next question probably would be, how can I prove that a common law relationship is genuine? The documents and which documents I would have to submit for that proof. So when choosing documents to support your relationship, ask yourself if they prove that you're a couple which lives together as a family or not. There is no unique list of papers which is suitable for any family. In this situation, any paperwork will do, such as joint tenancy agreement, joint bank account if it's possible in your country, credit cards that show that each other as cardholders on the same account. Families often travel together. You'll need border crossing stamps and two passports showing that you travel together, boarding passes for the same flights, travel insurance that covers both of you, and so on and so on. You can also prepare and sign a statutory declaration that you are living in a common law relationship. In different countries, it may also be called a notarized statement or an affidavit. Such document is signed before the notary or before the commissioner of oath. Other documents you may submit to support your relationship include proof of joint property ownership, mortgage loan or mortgage commitment, joint membership in any clubs, in any organizations, say for example, fitness facilities. Last will and testament in the name of each other is also a very credible proof of genuineness of your relationship. Say if you share a vehicle, you may also include authorization of each other to drive it. It will also prove that you trust each other as a family. Sometimes it's also good to consider asking your friends and relatives to write letters in support of your relationship. Such evidence may, in fact, add credibility to your application. And again, there is no unique template for this. Just ask to write any letter and describe how long your friends know both of you, how they have witnessed development of your relationship, and so on and so on. So, to conclude our today's topic, I'll say a few words about verification practices adopted by Canadian visa officers. It is not, in fact, a secret that officers put more credibility on the first-hand information than on the information and documents supplied by an applicant. An applicant claims are often and verified and checked. I already mentioned how officers screen the wedding photos. No need to tell that all other documents submitted by applicants are carefully examined as well in order to find controversial or untruthful information. Officers, however, they do not limit themselves to working with documents only. One of the most common means of verifying family relationship is an interview. But in this case, the interview is kind of special. Don't expect that you and your partner will be attending an interview together. No. Instead, after a few general questions, both partners are usually interviewed separately. During the interview, each of them is asked the same questions, and then an officer makes the decision based on the conformity of answers received. Uh, and I can give you like examples of hundreds of questions which might be asked. Here are a few samples. Uh, Say, what is your partner's favorite toothpaste? Who of you sleeps closer to the bedroom window? What was the last movie which you watched together? Who paid for your groceries for the last time? Which music does your partner listen? Where is the light switch in your bedroom? What was your most recent outing together? Given that there are hundreds and hundreds of questions like this, it's no wonder that most of marriages of convenience are discovered and busted during such an interview. And just to remember, while interviews are commonly used for the purpose of verification, there is one more way of making sure that a couple is indeed a family: visiting their home. Yes, an immigration officer can pay a sudden visit to a couple to see if their home meets all criteria of a normal family residence. Such visits usually take place early in the morning, say 6 a.m. is not unusual. Early guests may go as far as looking at the laundry basket to see if the couple's clothes are washed together, and there is absolutely no chance of passing this home visit test if a couple is actually married for convenience of immigration. So just to repeat for you that the main purpose of this webinar is to give you an idea of how serious you would have to take immigration matters and how seemingly simple tasks such as proving your relationship turn to be rather complex when it comes to immigration. In our previous webinars, we talked about various possible programs suitable for many potential candidates. And as I'm always saying, if you're looking to assess your chances and see how you can legally immigrate to Canada, you have two major ways to do so. You may contact our trusted team in Bangladesh, Visa Center, or come directly to us. Visa Center is our local partners, our local team who supports applicants and helps us to assist you in legal immigration to Canada. Please feel free absolutely coming to them or dropping me a message directly, and you could be absolutely assured that we will respond. Please also check YouTube videos of previous webinars. There are tons and tons of programs, immigration initiatives, and discussions on immigration and visa matters, and they're there available for absolutely everyone for free. As always, give us your like, your +1, share our presentations. It is important that as many people as possible would see how various immigration programs work in Canada. And for those who are looking to come to Canada legally, that there are ways to avoid fraud, avoid local cheating. Next Thursday, I would like to talk specifically about fraud, about misrepresentation in the immigration process. So we'll discuss various matters of fraud, fake documents, illegal advisors, unrealistic promises. We will discuss fraud from both sides, from the sides of unscrupulous consultants working locally and promising God knows what, and from the side of applicants who are believing that they can outsmart immigration authorities. Thank you all for listening today. Stay tuned with us, and on this point, goodbye.